The sweet moment of BinJin that got completely interrupted. What if the most swoon-worthy moment of an awards night wasn't scripted in a blockbuster romance, but born from a spontaneous squeeze that nearly got hijacked by a mischievous mate? On the glittering evening of November 20th, 2025, the 46th Blue Dragon Film Awards unfolded like a cinematic dream at Seoul's KBS Hall, where the air hummed with anticipation and the scent of fresh orchids mingled with the subtle thrill of unspoken stories waiting to spill onto the stage. It was a night that promised tributes to Korea's silver screen titans, but few could have foreseen how a simple victory lap would morph into a viral vignette of love, laughter, and that rare, unfiltered camaraderie that makes showbiz feel almost human. As the chandeliers cast a golden glow over velvet seats filled with A-listers in tailored tuxedos and flowing gowns, the ceremony kicked off with hosts Han Ji-min and Je-hoon, trading witty barbs that set a tone of elegant playfulness, reminding everyone why these gatherings transcend mere accolades. Their reunions wrapped in reverence. Hyun and Son Ye-jin, the undisputed power couple of Hallyu waves, arrived arm in arm on the red carpet, turning heads with an effortless poise that spoke volumes about their shared journey from on-screen sparks to off-screen forever. She shimmered in a sleek emerald gown that hugged her frame like a second skin, its subtle pleats catching the flashbulbs with every graceful turn, while he cut a dashing figure in a midnight blue suit, the kind that whispers authority without shouting it. Their presence alone was electric, a living testament to how Crash Landing on You had not only catapulted them into global adoration, but also woven their real lives into a tapestry of quiet devotion. Married since that intimate spring ceremony on March 31st, 2022, amid cherry blossoms in Seoul, they had welcomed their son, affectionately nicknamed Alkong by fans for his plump-cheeked charm, in November of the same year. A tiny bundle who, as Hyun would later reveal in his speech, had become the unspoken co-star in their every triumph. Watching them navigate the carpet, exchanging those knowing glances that needed no words, one couldn't help but feel a pang of envy-tinged joy. Theirs was the kind of partnership that made fairy tales seem plausible, a blend of fierce independence and tender interdependence that radiates warmth even from afar. As the evening progressed, the winds began to cascade like confetti from a hidden cannon. No Other Choice, Park Chan-wook's masterful exploration of moral quandaries in a fractured family saga, emerged as the undisputed champion, sweeping up 7 coveted prizes, including Best Picture and Best Director. A nod to the auteur's unerring knack for peeling back the layers of human frailty with surgical precision. Son Ye-jin, radiant under the spotlights, claimed Best Actress for her portrayal of a woman teetering on the edge of ethical collapse, a role that demanded she channel vulnerability into a force of quiet devastation. Her acceptance speech, delivered with that signature blend of humility and fire, touched on the film's themes of choice and consequence. But it was her subtle nod to the unseen hands guiding her, husband and child alike, that drew misty-eyed applause. It felt profoundly moving, like witnessing a phoenix rise not in flames, but in the steady flicker of resolve. Ye-jin's performance wasn't just acting, it was alchemy, transforming scripted pain into something achingly relatable, leaving audiences, and now the industry, to ponder their own crossroads long after the credits rolled. Then came Hyunbin's moment, the air thickening with suspense as his name echoed for Best Actor, honoring his tour de force turn in Harbin, Woo Min-ho's gripping biopic of Korean independence fighter An Jung-gun. Portraying the historical figure who assassinated Japan's first prime minister in 1909, Hyun embodied a man forged in the fires of colonial oppression, his eyes conveying a storm of righteousness and regret that lingered like smoke after a battle. The film itself, a taut thriller blending historical heft with pulse-pounding action, had already garnered whispers of international festival buzz, its snowy Harbin sets evoking the chill of betrayal as vividly as any winter gale. When the announcer confirmed his victory, the hall erupted. But it was Hyun Bin's unhurried stride to the stage, pausing to clasp hands with fellow nominees like the ever-graceful Jo In-sung, that revealed his grounded charisma. Climbing the steps, he turned not to the sea of cameras first, but to his wife, seated front row in a halo of adoration. In that heartbeat, he enveloped her in a hug so fierce and unyielding, it seemed to eclipse the roaring crowd, their bodies melding as if drawing strength from a shared reservoir. She reciprocated without a flicker of reserve, her arms wrapping around him like vines reclaiming a cherished trellis, the world fading to a blur of two souls sinking in silent celebration. It was pure, unadulterated tenderness, a 4-second eternity that felt like the climax of their own love story, evoking a swell of emotion that tugged at the heartstrings with gentle insistence, making one believe, just for a moment, in the invincibility of true connection. Yet, in the grand theater of life, even the most idyllic scenes invite a plot twist, and theirs came courtesy of Park Jung-min, the impish force of nature perched right beside them like a cherub with a penchant for chaos. Born on March 24, 1987, in the bustling heart of Cheongju, South Korea, Park had long been the industry's secret weapon, a performer whose chameleon-like range turned every role into a revelation. As Hyun Bin held his wife close, lost in that bubble of bliss, Park nominated himself for Best Actor in the introspective drama Face, where he navigated the labyrinths of identity with haunting subtlety, couldn't resist injecting his trademark levity. Seated mere inches away, he leaned in with boyish zeal, his hand darting out to pat Hyun Bin's back and waist in rapid, enthusiastic bursts, as if signaling, "Hey buddy, don't forget your wingman!" The pats escalated into playful tugs, a comedic bid to pry his co-star from the embrace, transforming the romantic tableau into a tableau of fraternal folly. Hyun Bin's face, caught mid-hug, flickered from bemused surrender to outright amusement, his broad shoulders shaking with suppressed laughter as he finally disentangled to return the gesture, pulling Park into a bear hug that acknowledged the intrusion with affectionate exasperation. Son Ye-jin, easing back with a pout that was equal parts reluctant and radiant, watched the exchange with sparkling eyes, her slight hesitation melting into a grin that lit the room brighter than any spotlight. Oh, the hilarity of it all. It was like stumbling upon a blooper reel spliced into a tearjerker, a reminder that joy often arrives unannounced, wrapped in the arms of those who know us best, leaving you chuckling at the sheer audacity while your chest warms with unspoken gratitude for such unscripted bonds. The clip, captured in crystalline high def by the ever-vigilant cameras, detonated across social media like a confetti bomb at a wedding, amassing hundreds of thousands of views within hours, and spawning a torrent of memes that painted Park as the ultimate third-wheel extraordinaire. Korean netizens, ever the quick-witted chorus, flooded timelines with playful indictments. Park Jung-min is like a carefree little boy crashing the grown-ups' party, one quipped, evoking images of a puppy nipping at heels for attention. Another chimed in, "He's probably exactly like baby Alkong at home, all boundless energy and zero boundaries," drawing parallels to the couple's cherubic son, whose chubby-fisted escapades had become a soft spot for fans since Ye-jin first shared blurred snapshots of his milestone grins. "Park Jung-min is genuinely funny," a third lamented with feigned scolding. "But did he have to photobomb the sweetest hug since their wedding vows?" The backlash was all in good fun, a digital roast that underscored how these stars' off-guard moments humanize their pedestal-perched lives, making the envy we feel for their glamour a touch more palatable, laced as it is with the relatable chaos of friendship's gentle sabotage. It stirred a delightful mix of giggles and sighs in me, that perfect alchemy where interruption doesn't shatter, but elevates, turning potential perfection into something gloriously imperfect and all the more cherished. Park Jung-min's antics weren't mere mischief. They were the cherry on a sundae of his storied career, one that has seen him evolve from indie darling to Chungmuro's most versatile virtuoso. Debuting in 2011 with the raw-edged independent film Bleak Night, where he etched a portrait of adolescent angst so visceral it lingered like a bruise, he spent years honing his craft in the shadows of bigger names, his lanky frame and expressive brows becoming tools for dissecting the human soul. Breakthrough arrived in 2016 with Dongju, The Portrait of a Poet, Lee Jun-ik's poignant ode to the titular wordsmith Yoon Dong-ju, a resistance poet silenced by Japanese occupation. As the bespectacled dreamer scribbling verses amid encroaching darkness, Park infused the role with a fragile intensity that earned him Best New Actor sweeps at both the Baeksang Arts Awards and the Blue Dragon itself, a full-circle irony not lost on audiences 9 years later. That win catapulted him into the spotlight, but it was his chameleonic prowess that cemented his status, slipping into the skin of an autistic savant in the mind-bending thriller The Call, where his wide-eyed vulnerability clashed against a telephonic terror with chilling efficacy. Morphing into a slick con artist in the heist caper Taza, One-Eyed Jack, his sly grins masking layers of desperation, or unraveling as a tragic everyman in Sunset in My Hometown, a film that wrapped nostalgia around the ache of lost youth like a well-worn scarf. Nicknamed Chungmuro's darling for his effortless rapport with Korea's cinematic nerve center, Park has danced with masters like Yoon Sang-ho in the superhero romp Psychokinesis, where he balanced pathos and pathos with gravitational pull. And now, most serendipitously, Woo Min-ho in Harbin, sharing screen space with Hyun-bin as a fellow independence operative in the film's frostbitten intrigue. Their Harbin collaboration, filmed amid the biting winds of Manchurian recreations, forged a brotherhood that spilled over into that awards night embrace. Or near embrace, as it were. Hyun-bin's An Jung-gun strides through the narrative like a thunderclap of defiance, pistol in hand and principles unyielding, while Park's supporting turn as a steadfast ally adds the grit of loyalty tested by treachery, their on-set banter reportedly as sharp as the script's historical barbs. It was a project born of reverence for Korea's independence era, blending explosive set pieces, like the titular assassination's high-stakes buildup, with introspective lulls that humanize the heroes, reminding viewers that freedom's price is paid not just in blood, but in the quiet erosion of spirit. Watching their real chemistry translate to real-life ribbing fills one with a buoyant affection, the kind that celebrates how art's illusions often birth authentic alliances, turning co-stars into confidants who crash hugs with the impunity of old souls. And just when you thought Park's plate couldn't get fuller, 2025 saw him diving into the undead frenzy of Newtopia, a zombie rom-com on Prime Video where he romps through apocalyptic Seoul opposite Blackpink's Jisoo. As the bumbling soldier Je-hoon, separated from his girlfriend amid viral chaos, he pairs earnest fumbling with heartfelt heroism, their breakup just before the bite premise unfolding in a whirlwind of gore-laced laughs and second-chance swoons. Jisoo, stepping from K-pop's glittering stage into this flesh-munching fray, matches his energy with wide-eyed determination, their on-screen reunion amid shambling hordes, proving that even in Doomsday, love's pull is stronger than any contagion. It's a role that showcases Park's lighter side, his comedic timing slicing through tension like a well-aimed headshot, and one senses the genuine spark he praised in interviews, Jisoo's unwavering focus mirroring his own, leaving fans to muse on how such pairings not only entertain, but inspire, a beacon of resilience in a genre too often drowned in despair. Beyond the reels, Park's talents ripple into realms unforeseen, like his foray into authorship with A Useful Person, a 2020 memoir come essay collection that climbed bestseller lists by dissecting the insecurities of stardom with disarming candor. Penned during a reflective hiatus, it weaves anecdotes from his early theater days, where he pounded pavement in Cheongju's modest playhouses, voice cracking through monologues under flickering bulbs, with philosophical musings on utility in an industry that chews up and spits out the unsteady. Readers devoured its pages for the raw honesty, Park admitting to nights doubting his usefulness amid rejections, only to emerge with a manifesto on vulnerability as strength. It's this introspective depth that endears him, transforming the hug-crashing clown into a sage in disguise. And it stirs a quiet admiration in the soul. How one man's words can bridge the chasm between spotlight glare and inner shadow, offering solace to anyone who's ever felt like an extra in their own narrative. That Blue Dragon interruption, then, wasn't a theft of thunder, but an amplification, folding Park's exuberance into the BinJin legend like a harmonious chord in a duet. It spotlighted the Korean film world's underbelly of warmth, where egos bend to easy affections, and victories are savored in trios rather than solos. Hyun snagged Best Supporting Actor for his brooding intensity in Pretty Crazy, a neo-noir that twists sibling rivalry into a vortex of vengeance, his win eliciting cheers that echoed the night's theme of understated power. Yoon-ah, the Girls' Generation icon turned screen siren, beamed with her Popular Star Award. Her turn in Hidden Face, a psychological chiller where she unravels as a grieving widow, proving her pivot from idol anthems to atmospheric dread, was no fluke. Even rising stars shone. Kim Do-yeon as Best New Actress in the quirky horror comedy Idiot Girls and School Ghost, School Anniversary, her fresh-faced frights injecting levity into spectral spookiness. An Bo-hyun's counterpart in Youth, perhaps, as the ceremony wove a mosaic of generations, each thread pulling tighter the fabric of an industry in bloom. These moments, layered atop the central trio's antics, painted a portrait of collective effervescence, where laughter at Park's pats didn't dilute the hug's sweetness, but distilled it, making the romance more vivid against the foil of fun. It left an indelible afterglow, that sense of witnessing not just awards, but the alchemy of lives intertwined. Hyunbin and Son Ye-jin's embrace an anchor of enduring love, Park's medal a spark of irrepressible spirit, all under one roof where dreams don't just get honored, they collide in the most delightful disarray. In the days following, as the video looped endlessly on feeds from Incheon to international streams, it became more than a meme. It was a microcosm of why we root for these icons. Hyunbin's dedication in his speech, "To my wife, whose very existence gives me so much strength, and to our son, the light that guides us both," landed like a gentle wave, washing over the hall with familial grace, while Ye-jin's revelation of their boy's name, Kim Woo-jin, in a post-win interview added a layer of intimacy that felt like an invitation to the feast. Fans, from lifelong devotees to newcomers hooked by Harbin's heroism or Newtopia's neuroses, found in that hug a mirror to their own tangled affections, the pull toward closeness, the nudge of those who love us too much to stay sidelined. Park, ever the enhancer, later joked in a casual dispatch that he'd just wanted a piece of the glory, but his eyes twinkled with the pride of a man who's shared trenches with giants. It evokes a profound contentment, this tableau, not the sterile polish of perfection, but the lived-in luster of laughter interrupting longing, A night where cinema's magic bled into reality's mess, leaving us all a little lighter, a little more convinced that the best scenes are the ones we never see coming. And as the Blue Dragon's echoes fade into the next project's hum, one lingers on that embrace, interrupted yet immortal, a heartwarming hiccup in the grand reel of lives well lived.